slick and shining with her saliva, as she looked up at me through her lashes. And her stare was so fucking intense that my face contorted with another grunt as she lowered herself onto me and into her mouth entirely. I clenched my teeth harder, still hissing in pants and desperately fucking aroused at the sight of my girl sucking my dick. I dug once more, trying to get her the fuck off of me before the sight alone made me explode. She gazed up at me pointedly with a momentary pause, before she slowly made her way back up. But this time I felt her teeth, lightly grazing and scraping me on her way up to my tip and making me shudder against the strain of holding it in when she did something so goddamn deviously intentional. She knew I loved the teeth, and I couldn't hold it once the dung thing came into play again. My hand plunged into her hair, wrapping around the back of it as my shoulders stiffened, and my eyebrows hunched downward. Against my own will, my hand guided her back down as I threw my head back into the pillow and groaned, low and gritty through my clenched teeth with a violent shudder that made everything burst forth. I came into my girl's mouth, gasping and groaning and feeling her throat swallow it down as I trembled beneath her and my eyes rolled back into my head. It lasted for fucking ever, as she sucked her way back up my length and cleaned me up diligently. I shuddered more with every sweep of her warm tongue. And when I finally came down from the blinding ecstasy of it, I was fucking lifeless. My hand slid from her head heavily as my chest heaved and it flopped at my side limply. She removed me from her mouth with one final suctioning motion, finally freeing me from her hand as my eyes remained closed. She sat up on my thighs as I caught my breath, and we both remained still for what felt like hours. After so long, I felt her little hand come up to stroke my bare hip gently. But I couldn't fucking move or open my eyes as I fought to regain my steady breaths. Her hand slid down and to the waist of my pants around my upper thighs. She hooked her fingers into them once more at each hip, tugging them upwards as I fought against the weight of my exhaustion to lift my hips up for her to cover me. When the jeans were finally pulled back up to my waist, I flopped back down, allowing my eyes to open as my gaze darted to hers. I was a little fucking horrified that I came in her mouth. It was disgusting and degrading. And her choice as she refused to let my dick go. I couldn't exactly be bitter or anything, but I didn't feel good about it. I was going to make that clear in my gaze as I stared up at her, but she wasn't looking at me. She was looking at the alarm clock on the bedside table, with the smuggest fucking smirk I had ever seen any girl wear. And I knew that smug smirk. I had worn it before. And I felt compelled to defend myself as I finally realized what she was doing. She fucking timed me. I'm not sure how quick I came, but I was utterly confident it didn't paint my endurance in a very positive light. I wanted to tell her it was all the foreplay, and to emasculate myself when I fucking swore to my girl I wasn't a premature ejaculator. But I snapped my jaw shut as her smug gaze finally met mine. She fucking glowed with pride, and I couldn't fuck with that shit. So I grinned at her lazily, probably glowing a little myself, because even though my only basis for comparison was Stanley, I was fairly sure it was the best blowjob ever. She leaned down over me, still beaming, as she planted a soft kiss to my cheek and leapt off of the bed, snatching up her bag and fucking skipping to the bathroom to get ready to go to sleep. I was thankful because I really needed the sleep after that shit. I sighed deeply, bringing up a hand to run through my hair drowsily as she got ready in the bathroom. I refused to beat myself up over anything that made my girl smile like that. And at the end of the night, after I dragged my tired ass into bed, I caught one last glimpse of it before I laid down and turned off the lamp. I scooped her up and squeezed her tightly against my chest as I plunged my nose into her hair with a deep breath and a sigh as she began humming my song and stroking my hair. She hummed delicately in a tone more upbeat than usual, making me smile into her curls as my eyes fluttered closed. Before the darkness took my consciousness into a deeply satisfied slumber, her words returned to me in the gentle background of her tender humming. That same softly reverent whisper falling from her red lips echoed in my ears and settled over my being like a fragile caress to my weary form. Je m'en taux hours attempts.